Hi everybody! I am so excited that you guys were able to join us for these paint nights with the library in October. I'm Rachel from Epic Arts and I'm going to show you how to do this cool night sky jack-o'-lantern painting. Woo! Okay, so what you're going to need to get started you mostly have in your bag. So you should have your paints. In cups you should have two brushes, a bigger one and a small one. You're also going to need a cup of water and a paper towel to rinse and dry your brushes. Now I'm working on an art table, so I've got it all set up here. If you're working on a table at home, you're going to want to cover that with newspaper or put something underneath your painting so you don't get paint all over your table. All right, ready to get started? Okay, so for step one of this process, we're gonna do our background color, which means you're gonna need your black, your white, and your yellow to start with. All right, so what we're gonna do for our background is gonna be pretty simple. We're gonna start off by adding a simple moon shape that's gonna kind of glow in our background, and then the rest is going to be a nice black night sky. So I'm going to take a little bit of my white here, and I'm just going to make a little circle near the top corner of my canvas. And then without even rinsing my brush, I'm going to get a little bit of yellow and I'm going to go all the way around my white and make a kind of circle. And I'm going to do that one more time. So it gets a little bit brighter yellow as we go around. It's okay if there's some lines and stuff like that, it's all gonna blend as we go. Then I'm gonna brush off my big brush a little bit, and I'm gonna go ahead and get my black. And from here, I'm gonna go around where I already went with the yellow, and I'm gonna let that mix a little bit so it kind of has this cool glow in the background. I may come back and add a little bit of yellow to that and mix in. The more you kind of swirl around and mix it in again, it really blends it and makes it look like your moon is glowing in the night sky. Again, I'll brush a little bit, get more black, and then from there I'm just going to keep going around my circle where my moon was here. I've mostly already shaded. Just gonna go around that one more time. And then I'm gonna go ahead and just paint the rest of my canvas all black. There'll be plenty of stuff we add on to this after, but this is gonna be our background night sky for our jack-o'-lanterns. All right, and I'm just gonna make that kind of smooth and spread out. You don't need a whole lot of paint. Once that's all covered, I've got my moon shape, I've got the rest covered in black. We're gonna give that a second to dry. While you're waiting, you can rinse off your brush in the water. All right, so once our background is dry, we're gonna go ahead and start on the shape for our pumpkin. So what you're gonna need first is your orange color. We're gonna use both orange and yellow on our pumpkin, but we're gonna start by outlining the whole thing in orange. So I'm gonna take my big paintbrush again, make sure it's really clean from the black. I'm gonna wash it off, dry it really well. Okay, so to start for the shape of our pumpkin, we're gonna go ahead and take our orange paint. I'm gonna find a spot. I think my pumpkin is gonna go right here in the front here. So what I'm gonna start with is I'm gonna start in the middle. I'm going to make a nice big shape that goes out, kind of like a C. That's gonna be one side of my pumpkin. Now you can make your pumpkin as big or as small as you'd like it to be. I'm gonna leave plenty of room to draw a face on mine afterward. It's okay if you see a little bit of black through it. Through the paint right now, we're gonna be adding more layers of orange and yellow on top. So right now we just wanna focus on the shape. So we're gonna do a kind of backward C on the other side to form the other side of our pumpkin. And we're just gonna fill the whole thing in with orange, kind of going back and forth from the middle to get our shape. All right, the next part of our pumpkin we're gonna do is we're going to do some shading. So I will show you on here. We're gonna do some highlights on the top of our pumpkin to show kind of where the light from the moon is coming from. And we're gonna do a little bit of shading just to give it the shape before we add on our face and all those fun things later. So what I'm gonna do for this is I'm gonna take my yellow and I'm gonna go across the top. So notice the light of the moon is shining toward the pumpkin this way. So I'm gonna go across the top with my yellow. And I may come back and add more too, since it's still fading into the background a little bit. But I'm gonna go ahead and go across the whole top with the yellow. And then I'm gonna blend that with the orange. So I'm gonna dip my paintbrush in the orange and I'm gonna blend it back and forth with the yellow that I just added. I'm gonna do that again, get a little more orange and blend in. If your paint is still showing the black through, it may just need to dry for a second before you add on the next layer. All right, so I let mine dry for a second. Doesn't take too long for these, and I'm gonna go ahead and do a little more yellow across the top of my pumpkin now that it's a little more dry. And I'm also gonna do two curves that come out from the pumpkin. So picture a curve coming out from the pumpkin that goes right kind of down the side here. We've got the outside, we've got a curve here. We're gonna do one curve here, and then we've got the outside there. And all of these I'm gonna blend in with my orange color. And that just gives our pumpkin a little bit of that shape. All right, once that's there, we're gonna let our pumpkin dry a little bit. And what we're gonna do next is the vines while we're waiting for our pumpkin to dry so we can do the jack-o'-lantern face. So for the next step of our pumpkin, we're gonna wait to let our pumpkin dry before we do the jack-o'-lantern face. And while we're waiting, we're going to take our green color and we're going to make the vines of our pumpkin that curl around like this. So for this, I'm going to take my smaller brush and I'm going to take my green color. I'm going to start with a little stem at the top of my pumpkin. That can be straight or kind of a curve. I'm going to give mine a little bit of a curve to it that kind of ends like that. So that's its stem. And then the fun thing about pumpkin vines is they curl and they wrap all around. So I'm going to start my vine and do some little swirls. I'm going to keep dipping back in my green paint as it runs out and make a cool vine for my pumpkin that can go all the way across my canvas. And you can also make a couple little swirls on there and loops. However you want to make your pumpkin vine, they're really fun to paint. I'm also going to have a little bit that goes off this way. For my vine. Feel free to add as many swirls, fun things like that you want. Now I'm going to go ahead and do my grass. If your pumpkin is pretty dry, you can go ahead and do your grass on the bottom. You just don't want to paint the grass on top of a wet pumpkin. So I'm going to start over here and do just some little strokes, really simple. I'm going to keep them light. To make it look like my pumpkin is sitting right on the ground in the pumpkin patch. I don't want my grass to go too high because I don't want to cover where I'm going to put my jack-o'-lantern's face. Good. We've got our pumpkin, we've got our vine, our moon, and our grass. What we're going to move on to next, as soon as our pumpkin face is really, really dry, is we're going to add our jack-o'-lantern face. The fun part. So make sure your pumpkin is really dry and then we will move on to our next step. All right. For our last part of our jack-o'-lantern, we are going to do the face like you would cut out on your own jack-o'-lantern at home. Now, I did mine a nice, happy, fun little jack-o'-lantern. You can make yours spooky, you can make yours happy, you can make yours totally goofy. we always have a mix of different pumpkin faces when we do it at home. So however you'd like to do it, we're gonna start with our eyes. So I'm gonna take my small paintbrush again. Now there's all different kinds of shapes you can start with. I'm gonna do a kind of triangle shape for my eyes. You can do a circle, you can do whatever shape you'd like, but I like the triangle feel for my jack-o'-lantern. So I'm gonna take my yellow color again, and I'm gonna start up here. I'm gonna make my triangles a tiny bit curvy. You can make yours straight lines, you can make them curved, like mine, whatever you'd like to do. And I'm gonna do both of my eyes. For right now, I'm just gonna do the outline with yellow. We're gonna add some white on the inside to make it look like it's glowing with the candle inside after. So once you've got your eye shapes, then you can move on to your nose. And again, we're just gonna do the outline for right now. I think this time on this one, I'm gonna try like a circle shape for my nose. But again, you can pick whatever shape you'd like. And I wanna do a big smile again on my jack-o'-lantern as well. Now you'll notice on this one, which I'll put here, move in a little bit closer. All right. So you'll notice on this one, what I did was I left space for my jack-o'-lantern teeth to go. You can do one big solid smile if you want, but it's kind of fun to add in the teeth just like you would carving a pumpkin. So I'm gonna show you how to do that. Again, you can have fun making your face however you want it to be. Important thing is to start with the outline and then we'll make it look like it's glowing on the inside, okay? Here we go. So I'm going to get my yellow paint again to do the outline. And I'm gonna start way up here for mine, make it a nice big smile. I'm gonna come down a little bit, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stop. And I'm gonna make it look like it dips down and makes a nice little tooth. Just like that. Then I'm gonna keep going with my smile. I'm gonna dip down and make another tooth over here. My yellow is mixing a little bit with my orange, but that's okay. I can always dip back and get a little more yellow to fill that in. So that's enough for my top teeth. Then I'm gonna curve it way back up and make the other side of that nice big smile. Now for the bottom, I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna start where I did on the side and I'm gonna come down as part of my smile. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make a little dip up for my tooth this time on the bottom. So I keep going like I'm following the shape of the smile, but then I'm gonna dip up to make that little tooth. And then I'm gonna keep going. And I think I'm gonna make one more little dip of a tooth over here. And finish by bringing the bottom of the lip all the way up to the top. All right, we've got our outline for our face. Once you've got that, you can rinse off your brush a little bit. And we're gonna take our white color to fill in the insides. So, again, I'm still using my small brush. I'm gonna use my white color. Now, what I do to add a little bit of the shape to make it look like you kind of cut it out of the pumpkin is I'm gonna make my white go all the way to the edge on one side. But then on the rest, I'm gonna leave that yellow that I painted. And that makes it look like it's glowing in there, but we can actually see these two sides that we carved, which I'm gonna do with my white. And it's totally fine for your white to blend with your yellow because it looks like it's glowing inside. All right, and I'm gonna do the same thing with my other eye and keep going on all of the insides of where I've made the cutout shapes for my jack-o'-lantern. So, again, I'm gonna go all the way to the edge just on this side here. And then I'm gonna fill the rest in with the white, but leave that side yellow. And that just makes it look like we can actually, it gives it 3 dimensions. So it looks like we can actually see that side that was cut out. And then see the lighter color glowing from the inside, which is kind of cool. I'm gonna do the same with my circle shape. Now with my circle shape, I'm basically gonna make a smaller white circle on the inside, leave a little bit of the yellow here, and leave that be white. And for my mouth, I'm mostly gonna fill in on the inside, and I'll leave the bottom yellow. But I'm gonna go ahead and do most of the rest of mine with the white and just leave that bottom shape a little bit yellow. Now, I like where the white actually mixes with the yellow a little bit. It really gives the look of just like a kind of candle or light flickering inside with the white mixed with the yellow. So don't be afraid to let those two mix. All right, now if there are any other little parts of your jack-o'-lantern that you want to add on, eyebrows, things like that, you can have fun with it and make whatever crazy expression you want. All right, and there you have it, your finished jack-o'-lantern painting. Now, if you want to add any fun things like twinkling stars in the background, on my original one that I tried, I did like a cool little string of lanterns that was really simple. It was just a line that I did, a kind of curved line, and then I did these little dots of white and yellow. Those are the kind of fun things you can add, kind of however you want to finish your night sky. I think it's cool just with a pumpkin too, but if you want to add in some little stars or lanterns, little bats flying in the background, fun stuff like that, it's your painting, so get creative. All right, just for a couple ideas for some other things that you can do at the very end. So you want to make sure your painting is completely dry before you add any of these other little things, but a couple ideas if you want. So what I did here was I used just some little dots with my white and yellow to make some either stars or fireflies in the background. And I also, once my pumpkin was totally dry to the touch, If you want your eyes to stand out a little bit more, you can take your black with your little paintbrush and do an outline around the edges of your eyes. Again, I've done it both ways. With my initial painting, I left it just like it was cut out and glowing and didn't do the outline. So that's one way you can do it. But if you want your eyes to stand out a little bit more, you can, again, once your painting is really dry, you can outline with black. All right, I hope you guys had fun making these cool jack-o'-lantern night paintings. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you have a great Halloween, and be sure to check out more stuff that the library has coming up for you guys. So, happy Halloween! Thanks so much for painting with us tonight. I'm so glad you guys could join us. I hope you had fun making jack-o'-lantern paintings, getting ready for Halloween. So yes, have a great Halloween, and I will see you guys next time. Thank you guys so much for joining us for this paint night. I'm so glad you were able to do it, and I hope you enjoyed making your jack-o'-lantern painting with us. So happy Halloween!